In the ever-evolving landscape of employment law in the United States, the right to privacy for employees has been a pivotal issue. While the Constitution primarily safeguards citizens from government intrusion, the concept of employee privacy has been influenced and defined by numerous iconic case laws. This video delves into 20 landmark cases that have left an indelible mark on the rights and expectations of American employees concerning their privacy. Katz v. United States, 1967. Katz v. United States is pivotal because it introduced the reasonable expectation of privacy test. The case involved the FBI attaching an eavesdropping device to a public telephone booth. The Supreme Court ruled that the Fourth Amendment applied to protect against unauthorized government intrusion into areas where individuals have a reasonable expectation of privacy, revolutionizing how privacy rights were understood. Effect. This case set the foundation for modern privacy jurisprudence, impacting numerous subsequent cases, including those related to employee privacy. Learning. The reasonable expectation of privacy test introduced in Katz v. United States emphasizes that privacy rights hinge on an individual's reasonable expectations in specific circumstances. This has far-reaching implications for employee privacy claims, reminding us that context matters. Smyth v. Pillsbury Co., 1996. Richard Smyth sued Pillsbury after being fired for sending sexually explicit emails from his work computer. The court ruled in favor of Pillsbury, emphasizing the diminished expectation of privacy when using company-provided resources. Effect. This decision highlighted that employers have the right to monitor employee activities on company-owned devices and networks. It underscored the importance of clear corporate policies regarding the use of workplace resources. Learning. Smyth v. Pillsbury Company underscores that employees should exercise caution when using company resources for personal matters. Employees must be aware that their actions on company-owned devices and networks may not be private, urging prudence in online conduct. O'Connor v. Ortega, 1987. This case revolved around a search of a government employee's office. The Supreme Court ruled that public employees retain a reasonable expectation of privacy at work but recognized that this expectation may be diminished by legitimate employer interests. Effect. O'Connor v. Ortega emphasized the delicate balance between employee privacy rights and the employer's need to maintain a safe and efficient workplace, impacting future cases involving public employees. Learning. O'Connor v. Ortega teaches us that the balance between employee privacy and employer interests is delicate. Employees retain privacy rights at work, but these can be overridden by legitimate workplace concerns, such as maintaining a safe environment. City of Ontario v. Quon, 2010. Quon, a police officer, sued his employer after his text messages were reviewed. The Supreme Court determined that the review did not violate the Fourth Amendment. However, it highlighted the importance of clear workplace communication policies and legitimate business purposes for monitoring. Effect. The case emphasized the need for transparency in employee monitoring practices and the protection of employees' legitimate expectations of privacy. Learning. Clear communication policies and legitimate business reasons for monitoring, as emphasized in City of Ontario v. Quon, are crucial. Employees should understand their rights and employers their responsibilities when it comes to electronic monitoring. United States versus Jones, 2012. Although not an employment case, United States versus Jones significantly impacted employee privacy. The case involved warrantless GPS tracking on a vehicle, and the Supreme Court unanimously declared it a Fourth Amendment violation. Effect. This decision reinforced the idea that technology can impact an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy, a principle applicable to electronic monitoring in the workplace. Learning. United States versus Jones reminds us that technology can redefine privacy expectations. In the workplace, this means employees and employers must adapt to evolving technology while respecting privacy boundaries. Burdine versus Johnson, 1998. This case saw an employer searching an employee's purse without consent. The court ruled in favor of the employee, underlining the importance of personal privacy even in the workplace. Effect. Burdine versus Johnson serves as a reminder that even in the employment context, there are limits to an employer's right to intrude into an employee's personal space. Learning. Burdine versus Johnson reinforces the importance of personal privacy, even in a professional setting. It reminds employers that intrusions into an employee's personal space must be justified and reasonable. Kwiatkowski versus U.S., 2014. An employee sued the government for revealing her personal information to coworkers. The court ruled that the government violated her Fourth Amendment rights by disclosing her sensitive information without a valid reason. Effect. Kwiatkowski versus U.S. reinforced the idea that employees have a reasonable expectation of privacy in their personal information, even in a public workplace. Learning. Employees should be aware that sensitive personal information deserves protection, even in a public workplace. Kwiatkowski versus U.S. highlights the importance of safeguarding personal data. NLRB versus Weingarten, Inc., 1975. This case established that unionized employees have a right to have a union representative present during an investigatory interview that they reasonably believe could lead to discipline. Effect. Weingarten rights became crucial in protecting employees during workplace investigations, ensuring fair treatment during such proceedings. Learning. Weingarten rights teach us that unionized employees have the right to representation during investigatory interviews. It's a reminder that employees should understand their collective bargaining rights and when to invoke them. Lefkowitz versus Turley, 1973. Lefkowitz versus Turley dealt with a public employee's rights to distribute political campaign materials. The Supreme Court held that public employees have the right to engage in political activities outside of working hours. Effect. This case established the political rights of public employees, ensuring their freedom to engage in political activities without fear of employer reprisal. Learning. Lefkowitz versus Turley upholds the political rights of public employees, demonstrating that they can engage in political activities outside of working hours. This underscores the importance of preserving employees' rights to engage in lawful off-duty activities. Griggs versus Duke Power Company, 1971. Griggs versus Duke Power Company played a pivotal role in employment discrimination cases. The Supreme Court ruled that employment practices that disproportionately impact minority groups can be considered discriminatory, even if not intended as such. Effect. This case fundamentally altered employment practices by highlighting the importance of disparate impact analysis in identifying discrimination in the workplace. Learning. Griggs versus Duke Power Company emphasizes the importance of eliminating discriminatory practices in the workplace. It teaches that employment practices with a disparate impact on minority groups may be considered discriminatory, even without intent. Burlington Industries, Inc. versus Ellerth, 1998. This case addressed employer liability in cases of sexual harassment. It established that employers can be held liable for sexual harassment by supervisors unless they can prove they took appropriate preventive measures and the victim unreasonably failed to use them. Effect. Ellerth raised awareness about the responsibility of employers to prevent and address workplace harassment, fostering safer workplaces. Learning. Ellerth stresses the responsibility of employers to prevent and address workplace harassment. It underscores the need for robust anti-harassment policies and training programs. Garcetti versus Ceballos, 2006. Garcetti versus Sebelius established that when public employees speak pursuant to their official job duties, their speech is not protected by the First Amendment. Effect. This case clarified the boundaries of free speech rights for public employees, impacting cases where employees speak out against their employers. Learning. Garcetti versus Ceballos clarifies the boundaries of free speech for public employees. It reminds us that the First Amendment doesn't protect speech made pursuant to official job duties. Whistleblower Protection Act, 1989. While not a specific case, the Whistleblower Protection Act protects federal employees who disclose information they reasonably believe demonstrates wrongdoing within their agencies. Effect. The Act provided vital legal protection for whistleblowers, encouraging the reporting of government misconduct. Learning. The Whistleblower Protection Act encourages government employees to report wrongdoing without fear of retaliation. It teaches that government accountability is crucial and that employees should be aware of their whistleblower protections. Smyth versus City of Jackson, 2005. This case clarified the scope of age discrimination claims, stating that claims can be brought under the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, ADEA, without direct proof of discriminatory intent. Effect. Smyth versus City of Jackson expanded protections against age discrimination, making it easier for employees to bring forward claims. Learning. Smyth versus City of Jackson expanded protections against age discrimination. It reminds us that employment discrimination laws evolve to address emerging issues. National Federation of Independent Business versus Sebelius, 2012. In a case related to the Affordable Care Act, the Supreme Court upheld the individual mandate, which had significant implications for employer-sponsored health insurance. Effect. The ruling upheld key provisions of the ACA, affecting how employers provide healthcare benefits to employees. Learning. Sebelius underscores the importance of understanding the legal framework surrounding employer-sponsored healthcare. It shows that changes in healthcare law can impact employer-provided benefits. Carpenter versus United States, 2018. While not an employment case, Carpenter versus United States raised critical questions about privacy in the digital age. It required law enforcement to obtain a warrant before accessing an individual's cell phone location data. Effect: Carpenter expanded the protection of digital privacy, influencing cases involving employee data and electronic communications. Learning: Carpenter versus United States highlights the growing importance of digital privacy. It teaches us that employees and employers must adapt to evolving technology while respecting digital privacy rights. Griswold versus Connecticut, 1965. Griswold versus Connecticut established the right to marital privacy. While primarily related to reproductive rights, it would later influence cases regarding employee benefits and reproductive rights in the workplace. Effect: This case contributed to the broader discussion of personal privacy rights in the context of employee healthcare and reproductive choices. Learning: Griswold versus Connecticut's recognition of marital privacy has broader implications for employee healthcare and reproductive choices, emphasizing the significance of personal autonomy. Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire Rubber Co., 2007. This case led to legislative changes by highlighting the need for clarification in the statute of limitations for filing pay discrimination claims. Effect: The Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009, signed into law in response to this case, expanded protections against pay discrimination, making it easier for employees to pursue claims. Learning: Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire Rubber Co. led to legislative changes in pay discrimination claims. It emphasizes that legal decisions can lead to positive changes in employment law. Fisher versus University of Texas, 2013. While primarily a case on affirmative action in higher education, Fisher versus University of Texas underscored the importance of diversity and inclusion in educational and employment settings. Effect: The case reinforced the concept that diversity and inclusion are legitimate goals in educational and employment contexts, shaping employer practices and policies. Learning: Fisher versus University of Texas underscores the importance of diversity and inclusion in education and employment. It reminds us that promoting diversity is a legitimate goal in the workplace. Whole Woman's Health versus Hellerstedt, 2016. This case, while centered on abortion rights, emphasized the broader concept of personal privacy in medical decisions, which can have implications for employee healthcare benefits and accommodations. Effect: The case highlighted the significance of personal autonomy in healthcare decisions, influencing discussions about employer-provided healthcare coverage. Learning: Whole Woman's Health versus Hellerstedt's focus on personal privacy in medical decisions has implications for employee healthcare benefits. It reinforces the importance of personal autonomy in healthcare choices. Conclusion: These 20 iconic case laws have significantly shaped the landscape of employee privacy in the United States, impacting various aspects of employment law. They highlight the delicate balance between individual privacy rights and legitimate employer interests. As society and technology continue to evolve, the legal framework surrounding employee privacy will undoubtedly face new challenges, making it essential for both employers and employees to remain informed about their rights and responsibilities in the modern workplace.